Everyone knows that race cars are fast. What they lack in creature comforts, they make up for in lightness, handling, and raw and intoxicating power that on the road is only matched by the most hardcore supercars. But how much faster are they really? Well, today we're going to find out. I'm going to drive my stock M135i back to back with an E36 M3 to see how much faster a proper championship-winning race car really is. They're both made by the same manufacturer, they both make a pretty similar amount of power, but naturally the modification list on the M3 is extensive. So let's take a closer look. Over 10 years ago, this car was an early 90s E36 M3 with a 3-litre straight-six engine, a 5-speed manual transmission with power going to the rear wheels. A commendable performance car, no doubt, but the small brakes, the small tyres, the heavy leather interior is of course going to slow it down. So around 15 years ago, this M3 was taken off the road for good and has been a race car ever since. The engine is an S50B32, a 3.2-litre naturally aspirated straight-six engine. It's paired up with custom headers and an exhaust and an intake to help it breathe, and it has a Link ECU, so now it's producing 325 wheel horsepower. The gearbox though is arguably the biggest change. It now has a 6-speed sequential transmission in true race car fashion. And then of course it is on coilovers with super wide and very sticky racing slicks, and of course significantly improved brakes. It's got massive rotors that are slotted here at the front and drilled rotors in the back to help deal with all of the heat, along with a very cool fiberglass body kit and this rather cool orange livery here on the outside. And now comes the part that no doubt you will all be looking forward to seeing. Me, a 6'1" tall 23-year-old trying to get into a racing bucket seat. But there is a feature of the car that makes that a hang of a lot easier, because the door comes off. What an excellent feature. Now, I've been told that the easiest way to get into this is to go feet first. Of course, you can remove the steering wheel and then you hold onto the roll cage, get your feet in first, slip your way inside, sort out the harness from smashing your ghoulies, put the steering wheel back on, and we're in. And boy, is this one of the interiors of all time. You got a 5-point harness, a very, very narrow racing seat, very simple steering wheel, and of course the fantastic feeling sequential transmission. I can even see the ground through the gearbox in here. There is absolutely no sound deadening left in here whatsoever. You've got a switch panel, you have a fully customizable digital display here with about 5 or 6 different screens, which is really cool. Surprisingly though, it still has a completely analog fuel gauge down here. Other than that, it's got a fire extinguisher and a massive rear view mirror, and that's about it. Everything you need to go really fast on track and nothing more. Predictably, this car is far too loud to get any meaningful audio from, so you'll just have to enjoy the sonorous racket of the BMW Straight Six. I managed to pull out my quickest time ever on Manfield, a 1:14.4, over 8 seconds faster than my previous record in my Lexus ISF. The M3 was getting to 210 km an hour on the back straight at a spine-tingling 7600 RPM. But to my surprise, even the slick tyres started to heat soak, which certainly made for some rather entertaining cornering. Well, here we are, back in a road car, my BMW M135i. I'm going to change down into 4th gear and let's see what the M135 can do. Turn it in. Handling is nowhere near as good. Oh, right, here we go, on power, everything it's got. It's certainly fast. That's 190. Brakes are strong. Brakes are really strong, actually. It stops fantastically well. Turn it into the first corner. Tyres are struggling early on the power. Oh, too early. Oops. There's that torque I was talking about before. Right, let's see if we can push it through this corner here. Braking hard. The brakes are really good actually on this. That's the best part about it. The tyres, they were really letting the team down. I just can't push anywhere near as hard into these corners as I was used to in the M3. Turn in late, on the power early. There we go, everything she's got right to the outside of the track. Up into 4th. 150, 160. It's certainly quick, man. It's got the power and it's got the brakes, I'll give it that. It's just the handling. It feels heavy, the suspension's soft, the tyres are really struggling, especially on corner exit, with this being just an open diff. It's doing good. Feels weird just flicking away on pedals, eh? You don't have to do the big bang of the sequential gearbox. Turn it in. There we go, out wide. Use all the grip there is available, which there isn't much because the tyres at the front are really bad. There we go, we'll splash Shay. Right, we've got a good clear track ahead, so we're probably heat soaking a wee bit here, but we'll have one last go at a hot lap. Brakes are still good, man. This thing's still stopping in a hurry, eh? It's stopping great. Ease on the power. Yeah, you just feel one of the wheel wants to go out of every corner. It's annoying. If this thing had an LSD, I reckon I'd shave 2 seconds just like that, because it could actually use the power that it has available out of corners. Whereas you've got to be gentle getting out of corners in this thing. Hey, I had the same issue with the Skyline. It had the power, you know, 250 kilowatts. It's got plenty of power, but you can't use it because out of every single corner, it's just lighting up one wheel. There we go. Oh yeah. This thing is great though, man. It does drive really well. A lot softer, obviously, and the grip is just not there, but it's still a great drive. It's still not bad at all. Here we go. Right, I think this will be our last hot lap because I do fear that my poor little BMW engine, which they're not known for being the most reliable, is getting awfully hot. Yeah, we're only getting 185 on the straight now. It's definitely losing a bit of power over the heat cycle. There we go, turn it in, clip the apex right to the outside of the track. Nice, nice, nice. That's good. 7 grand. Here we go across the line. This will be our last hot lap. So, the conclusion. A track car is way lighter, it's way stiffer, and it's just got infinitely more grip. The engine doesn't heat soak, the brakes don't fade. It's designed to do lap after lap at full chat with no interruptions. But that said, you know, both cars are getting to a good 200 or so on the straight, and arguably the 135 actually feels more confidence inspiring when slowing down because of the power assisted brakes. I just can't take corners anywhere near as fast because of the tyres, the suspension and the extra weight. And that is how the M3 is nearly 10 seconds faster than this. Not to mention the fact there's just nothing quite like driving a proper race car on track. Bang, bang, bang between all the gears. Like, it is a special driving experience. So thanks very much to Richard for letting me drive his M3, and I meanwhile am going to have a bit more fun in my M135, eh? A little bit of a might be open diff, but it's still a freaking awesome drive, man.
Thanks for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.